2024, and I want you guys to hold me accountable. I want you guys to be witness for this. 2024, I'm going to develop a damn video game.
It's time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Good morning, everyone, and before we start this video, I just want to mention I'm recording this on Easter, so I want to say I hope you and your family have a blessed time this special period. I hope God blesses you forward, and I hope you have a tremendous year further. But without further ado, we are talking about another game dev episode, and we've come now more or less to the halfway point, I think, of the original dev of my game, of the original vision and stuff like that I had. Obviously, afterwards we can go and have some more fun and have you guys come in and interact and like tell me stuff that you want to add. But this is the halfway point. We have spent this episode working on specifically the saloon, which is kind of like obviously where most townsfolk gather that you find, and then you can have interactions with them and all that. So yeah, that's more or less what we're looking at. So I'm going to show you how the saloon looks right now, but it is going to look a little bit chaotic with all those people in, because this is just obviously how it looks like from me drawing it. Not a lot of this stuff will appear, and I'll run the game right now so you can just see, but like half of the stuff will not be here, and I'll provide the reasoning now. But basically, if we were to go into the saloon, most of the saloon really is just to either socialize with the people in the place, depending on where they are and when they are. Buying alcohol, which you cannot do at this point yet. I'll explain why. But as you can see, like, it's much cleaner now. You just have the bartender, the piano woman, and this thirsty little chick over here. And like, as always, you can interact with all of them. Now, as mentioned, we will only serve at night. At some point in the game, I think in the next video, I'm going to make a night, basically a day-night cycle for the game. At this point, all of our stuff has been occurring at day, but I thought it would be interesting if we can have some night interactions and stuff you can do specifically at night here. So, for example, the alcohol we only serve at night, because now if you interact with this lady, she says she'll buy me a drink and I'll show you the Wild West. So in order to interact with her further, I'm gonna have to be at night, obviously, but we're gonna have to interact with him to get a drink and to bring it to her then. Other things you can currently do in the saloon is you can play the piano. If you click on it in here, this is also another way to earn cash in the game, but this one is a little bit more incremental instead of what it's fixed like what it was for the barn, where you just go into the barn, you shove some hay into horse pens, and you get a set amount of $5. The piano is going to depend on how well you can play the piano for yourself. So in the beginning, you're not going to get much. It's going to range between, I think, $1 or $3, really, or maybe $1 or $2 where you don't know how to play it at all. Actually, should have clicked on her first, because she will only say howdy if you click on her first. But if you play the piano and then click on her, she is actually interested in playing the piano as well. So she'll give you some encouragement. You see, keep playing, I'd love to see you improve. And this dialogue, which I'll show you a little bit later, will change depending on how well you can play the piano and how well you come in. So, for example, if I were to exit now, and I go back into the saloon, while these two... Oopsie, alarm's gone off. While these two have still the same dialogue to say, because you've played the piano already, if I click on her now, here to play piano again. So she actually remembers that you have played piano here before, and while you still can't play it too well, I'm gonna have to exit a few times for this to work. You see, now it's changed, where I've played the piano enough, since I've played it now 4 times now. But it's so you play a tune, assured of yourself, and can entertain all the patrons. Now at this point, you're gonna earn a little bit more cash for that. Tips will still be a bit more random, but at some point you're gonna get mastering the piano, and then you can win a lot. But now if I click on her, you've improved so much, it's fantastic to see. So her dialogue also changes depending on how well you can play the piano. And at some point I want to start like having some sort of relationships you can have with this person and the person you saw here. If I exit now, this person you saw here, I want to also allow relationships with. I think I'm going to have her work in the bank, which is going to be much later on. But I want to have a way also that you can help this guy, which is the barn hand, which you can see all the townsfolk now coming together. I want to have this guy ask you if you can help him woo this girl through some means. I want to have like this dynamic thing where like the townsfolk are also asking for stuff like that, and allow that dynamic now to come together where you can help the NPCs of the town and interact with each other and have like a, you know, some sort of layered stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna get to that, but as you can see, they're all having guns and stuff, and I'll show you why just now. Whoops. I almost clicked on the exit button, but I haven't played the game yet. So if I load up the game again and I go to the general store and I pick out a gun, you're gonna notice also one thing I did do, but I'll get to that right now, is when you go in, now they've all pulled out the guns because you have a gun in here, and if I wait long enough, you died. Because, yeah, you ain't getting away with that in the Wild West, so there is a way to die now in the game, which I'm going to expand upon as well. There's also a way to go to jail, but I'll leave that up to you to figure out how to get to jail, because I don't want to give out all the details of the game. But as I see, if I exit now, you'll notice I don't have the gun anymore. The state of the game has effectively reset. There's nothing like, if you go in here, they're not going to remember you or anything. Like, this is basically you died and you restarted the game. And you can now purchase a gun again. You see, it's going to allow you to purchase a gun, because if you try to purchase a gun like last time, it's not going to allow you to purchase more than one gun. But the same thing will happen. You go in here, if I wait a little bit of time and you don't do it, you're going to get that. Now, that was the first half, really, of this development of this. I'm going to go into more of the code now, but the second half, I decided to really invest into the quality of life and really start cleaning up the code, because I feel like past this point, it's going to get even more ambitious and even more complex. So I thought, I don't want to sit down the line with code that is not as efficient as I think it can be. Don't get me wrong, this was still quite a bit of mangling and jangling and stuff like that, but it's much better than what I think it was, especially with the globals. If you recall in my past video stuff, I said I had an issue a bit with the globals and stuff, because I didn't think like messing around with globals was the best thing to do. So now what I've done with a lot of the globals, a lot of my globals was literally just storing whether you clicked on a person or not, because the clicking interaction, I wanted conditions to occur, like the dialogue and stuff like that. Now, instead of storing that click as a global thing, I've stored, for example, that click as a local thing. And I'll show you a quick example, just on the barn hand, for example. So remember, if you click on him, it should basically have a bunch of stuff that happens. He's basically telling you, either he's giving you your money after a hard day's work, or he's telling you what work to do, or there's some other stuff with the barn hand that might come later. But for example, at this point, see, there's clicked equals true, which now I will be accessing to check if he has been clicked and if his dialogue should appear, which I'll show you in the dialogue now. And this is some more conditions. Like I said, this is to check out if you should be paid. So if you haven't been paid, but all the horses haven't been fed, and you're not pointing a gun at him, you should be getting some money. Then the global has paid will become true, and then obviously all your work in the barn is done. And obviously we still have to do this, unfortunately, to set it to false, because otherwise the dialogue goes a bit haywire. But that's not too bad, because when I exit a building now, I don't have to store all those clicks and those variables anymore. All those variables can get destroyed because they're not relevant anymore. We're not in that room anymore where like the barn hand is and the horses are and all that. So it does save quite a bit of space and everything. So I think this is much better. You'll notice this one, the controller, which is supposed to store all the states of all the stuff, it's much cleaner. It used to be like maybe double this size, but it's much cleaner now. Sure, there is still some stuff it has to store, but it's like I said, it's much better. The dialogue as well has been cleaned up quite a bit. It's still large, but like I've organized it now to specifically look only into the rooms. And as you can see there, if the storekeeper dot clicked, then you will do the dialogue. If the object gun has been clicked, or the object ammo has been clicked in the store, that means you've purchased it, and then you'll get this dialogue. It's not a global thing anymore that I have to keep checking for specifically global stuff, and that's to specifically store global things. Now that's all dandy and stuff like that. And now the biggest other quality of life thing is actually, I'm going to play the game again, because this is specifically going to help you that you don't just willy-nilly point your gun everywhere. I've managed to make a way to put your gun away. So, okay, I should point out, the storekeeper does not actually care if you pull out your gun or anything. He has no problem here whatsoever. I'm going to have a different interaction with him at some point that I want to do. But now, for example, if I were to press G here, notice the gun goes away and comes back. So I've made a way to, you can unequip your gun. So So that you don't just, after you've bought a gun, you're just walking around like this in every store, because obviously then you're going to meet your demise pretty soon. So, let's go, for example, back now. Let's go to the barn, for example. Now, as you can see, the barn hand is quite frantic here about it. But now, if I were to try and click on something, you'll notice I can't click on anything here. I can't click on anything because I've got my gun out. But if I deequip my gun, now the dialogue's gone, and I can interact with the barn hand again. It says the same thing as you all know. You can pick up the fork, you can put hay on your fork and everything like that. But should you want to try and pull out your gun again, you actually can. And it does look a little bit weird there, but if I move away, you've dropped the fork and you've got your gun in your hand again. Now you can just repeat this process. You can put your gun away again. He'll remind you again of what you should do. And you can click on that fork and pick it right back up again. It's back in your hand. It's all safe and dandy. Now let's exit the barn. As I said, I don't have it yet, but if I press G, there the gun comes back. Same thing happens in the saloon. Well, if you wait too long, you are going to die, but if I press... Oh. Okay. I forgot to plug in my laptop. If you were to walk around with the gun out in the store, you would normally die if you wait too long, but if I press G now, all goes away and everything's over. You could just die again if you just pull it out again. You're going to die if you wait too long, but you can alleviate that. But yeah, if you do leave it too long, you're going to see the familiar screen and he's died. So, those are the big changes. Half of it being the new saloon and stuff like that. Half of it being the quality of life. And I'd say we're halfway now with the whole development system. It's going to get more complex, as I said, from here on out. Next on the block will be the house. The house is a very minor building, though. It has one function, really. I'll try and think of more functions to put on it, but I've only got one function, really, for the house currently, and that's to have a bed. And the bed is to basically skip time. Maybe, I don't have a healing system or health at this point. It's like one shot, you're dead, so I don't think I'm going to waver from that. But the bed is basically to skip time with it. You can still progress time if you go into enough buildings. That's my thinking. Either go through enough buildings or use the bed to skip time. But now, because we have a night mechanic, I'm going to overhaul all of the other buildings once again to have some sort of, maybe some sort of thing you can do at night in the buildings. I think that would be cool. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. I think that's going to be a very fun and head-scratching episode for me, but I'm going to push through. I'm very keen. I'm very happy with his development so far. It's been a fantastic thing so far. And as I said, yeah, I'm very excited to finally release this at some point so you guys can play, give me feedback, suggest stuff. This is our journey. So I'm very happy to share it. But once again, thank you all for tuning in. I hope again you have a blessed Easter and a blessed time with your family. And yeah, stay tuned for more. But until the next one, we'll chat soon and game on.